Happy Thursday and welcome back to the You Good Podcast, the podcast where oversharing is encouraged and thoughts get real. I'm your host, C-Rod, joined as always by my co-host, Nick. There are people from your past who do not show up in every memory. You might not even remember exactly how close you were, but then they come back around and suddenly they are connected to a lot of your past. Today we're joined by someone I went to high school with, someone Nick has basically known forever through his brother, someone who went from Chipa Pizza to late night decisions at Liquid Cellar, and apparently still has Nick saved in his phone as Nipples. Welcome to episode 55, Schfifty-Five. Let's get into it.
No, I don't wanna live where I always feel broken. I just wanna live with a heart wide open. I don't ever wanna feel fear anymore. No.
Nicholas, I went to a movie for the first time in a long time this weekend. When's the last
Toy
time you've been to a
Story.
movie?
Couple weeks ago.
In the movie theater?
Yeah.
Am I like the only one who doesn't really do that anymore?
I went and saw Scary Movie in the movie theater. I saw Masters of the Universe in
Okay.
4D. Remember? I think I told you about that.
Yes, you did. You did. I actually I pirated that the other day and watched that with my dad.
Nice.
I went to see Toy Story 5.
I was going to say
surprisingly
Toy
good.
Story was the only thing I could think of that would have got you to the movies.
Well, it was either that or Minions, but the kids chose to see Toy Story 5, and it was actually really good. Tied a little bit of technology into playing with toys and really just talked about how shitty technology can be for kids, and I was all about it.
Nice.
Got kind of dark at some points. Felt like they could have made it like a horror movie. Every time the technology came on, I was like,
I haven't seen it yet, so
You should.
I will. I probably won't see that one in theaters.
Yeah,
the
just
next
pirate
one's
it.
probably Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man's my next one.
All right, well, let's get right into it. Another guest episode. Happy to be here. Excited to be here. We have somebody who is coming back into my life for the first time in a long time, but somebody that you know pretty well, correct?
Yeah, I've known him at least 32 years probably at this point. So,
Damn. Well, today's guest is a head chef. We'll talk about, like I mentioned, he has some Liquid Cellar stories, some college or some high school, what's it called? Graduation party stories, which would be interesting to get into. But most importantly, a father of three, Corey Bridwell, J. Corey Bridwell Sr., which is on the screen. I don't know if everybody will see it, but Corey, we appreciate you being here. Welcome to the Good Podcast.
I am tickled pink to be here.
One of our very good listeners, very active listeners, currently or always engaging and liking what we're posting and being a part and listening to the episode. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate you finding the time to be on.
Glad to be. Yeah, you guys do an awesome job, and I'm just happy to support some people I know doing the thing.
Hell yeah. Can I ask why J. Corey?
So my first name is actually Jonathan. I've gone by Corey pretty much my whole life. Ever since I can remember, I've always been Corey. But I don't know, lately on the door of where I work, I put a J. Corey on there, and it's kind of stuck. And I also now have a son that's Jonathan Corey Bridwell II, so that makes me senior.
Hell yeah. Just adding all the names and all the dots to the name, it makes it feel prestigious, right? Like on your door. Like if it was like PhD or something, just keeps going.
Just the longest name possible.
Yeah.
Someone said it to me the other day. They were like, "Are you Chef J. Corey?" And I was like, "What? Oh yeah, that's me. Yeah." And then it just
J. Corey.
ever since I said, I was like, Chef J. Corey sounds elegant.
Hell yeah,
it does.
Hell yeah,
exotic.
Before we get into kind of the deep stuff, the way that we kind of set these up is, we bring somebody on. I book you a few weeks or months in advance. There's usually just an invite that goes out, but as we get closer to the recording, I usually start a group text. And a really funny anecdotal story I want to hear and get into is you had noticed that Nick was saved in your phone as Nipples, and that is what I am most interested to find out is what is the story behind Nick being saved as Nipples in your phone?
So like I was looking at my phone and like I see that I have a Nick Cherry in there. I'm pretty sure that's one of his old numbers or something like that. And like I would text and like call it, there'd be no answer, no reply back on the net. But I always talk to Nick on Snapchat, so I never look at the contacts. We always just exchanged information or talked or, you know, set stuff up through Snapchat. And then you set up this group chat and I see Nick on there, but I don't see Nick, I see Nipples. I was like, do I have Nick saved in my phone as Nipples? And I sure do. But him being called Nipples, I mean, that goes back to high school band camp. Mostly maybe before that, my brother would call Nick Nipples, and his brother Eric would call him Tits. Yeah, but they did have some notoriously great man boobs back in the day. So Tits and Nipples was
still do.
It was so fitting for them. So probably when Nick updated his number or got a new phone, we were probably trashed and was like, "Oh, here's my number. I'm just gonna save you as Nipples," and then completely forget about it for years.
That makes sense. Yeah, I completely forgot about that nickname because Sean graduated early on, so that didn't stick at all. It's just something you guys do.
Yeah.
So when you said it the other day, I was like, "Oh man, I forgot that was even a thing."
It's been so we've grown up, but apparently my phone hasn't. So welcome back, Nips.
There you
Welcome
go.
back, Nips. I have that too. I have it must be like my old Gmail account or something from like college, because there's people that are saved in my phone sometimes twice, same number, but they'll be like a nickname on one and then there'll be their real name on the other, and it's just because my phone never merged, I guess, contacts at some point. It's very strange. It's very strange.
Yeah, that's
Nick,
weird.
do you consider Cherry to be your nickname, or is that, do you have another nickname, or do you just consider that your last name?
Well, I consider
Nikki.
that like yeah, right. Nikki, I guess, would be the other one. Would be what I was called like the most outside of Cherry. Everyone knows like that Cherry is pretty much gone now, but I mean, aside from everyone that I knew back then.
Really?
Yeah, I actually have a first name now.
I guess I could see too, like if you were around your brother and with Eric or whatever, that you wouldn't be called Cherry, because then
Dude,
you're
it
both
gets
Cherry. So it has to be Nikki. That's cute.
No, it
that.
doesn't. Well, because they still do. They still call us both Cherry, and like my grandpa will say it best. Eric's friend Hayden called my grandpa's house once, and my grandpa answers the phone, and Hayden goes, "Is Cherry there?" And my grandpa goes, "We're all cherries," and just hung up the phone. So at this point, it's like, yeah, we're kind of used to it when we're together, like, and around that group of friends, like it's gonna happen. But I think that would be my nickname. I guess Papa Cherry would be the other one, but
Papa Cherry. I was definitely expecting more of a story of your tits or nips to be coming out at some point.
no, they never did.
Somebody.
No, I think it was just because me and Eric, so it was just something Sean used
They
to
just
say,
had bodies like potatoes.
Yeah.
Back in high school.
So Corey, we've gotten into asking. So we talked a little bit about Nick here, but we've gotten into asking the guests before we open the show, what is the most interesting thing about you that people might not know? And is there anything outside of what we'll be discussing here today?
I mean, a lot of people might not find it interesting, but I certainly find it interesting. I do know a lot of people that do find it interesting, and it's I collect comic books and animation art.
Okay. I know that Nick is a big comic book head.
Mhm.
How do your guys' collections stack up against each other?
I think volume wise, I might have more, but he's got a probably more meaningful collection, I would say.
Yeah, I've seen I've actually dug through Nick's collection, his dad's collection, and like that's a very vast, like full runs of collections. I've got a lot more meat, if you call it. I do have like whole runs of things, but I also have a lot of first appearances, a lot of key issues that are like, hey, this is the first appearance of the Punisher. And I go like, all right, well, I definitely like the Punisher. That's pretty cool. I've always liked that. Let me get this comic book, and then let me go get it signed by the writer and the artist, and so on and so forth, and meet these people and talk to the people that created it.
That's awesome. Do you go to a lot of Comic Cons?
I have been to a little too many conventions.
Do you take the kids?
I have taken them. I've made it full family events. I've also made it
Full
just
family
solo
cosplay?
runs. Yeah, oh yeah, everything come on
Oh.
there. I had what was it 2 years ago? My everyone dressed up basically. I mean, you could put on a jacket and be like, "Oh man, I'm Old Man Witherspoon." You can be whoever you want at that point. But now my middle son Lincoln, he dressed up as Huggy Wuggy. My oldest son, I forget what he dressed up as. My youngest as a pirate. We just go there and meet these comic book creators. Most of the time I go to the conventions, I call it I'm there on business. I'm there to get stuff signed. I'm not there to buy trinkets and look around at things. I'm here to meet the writers and artists, and let's get these books signed.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I
You-
took the kids to maybe one or two, and Kinsley still has a poster of the the Teen Titans Go. One of the head artists, she got a poster she wanted, she signed it, and she loves that. And she'll always watch Teen Titans Go now and be like, "Oh, I met that person." I think it's a pretty cool experience. Definitely a much friendlier vibe at Comic Con. I've never had a bad time there. It's always just a good group of people, bunch of nerds looking to look at comics and shit like that. The fan art is always my favorite. I'll buy a lot of. I'll go there and I'll buy the fan art. The $30 pictures and posters. I think they're pretty cool.
And that's always awesome seeing people that get these posters and things signed, and even people that collect the Pokemon cards and the One Piece cards and stuff like that. I decided I was like, I'm going to take it a little bit farther, and like these shows, Pokemon, One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, like
Yeah.
what can I get that would actually like make this like more meaningful? And I was like, oh, you can get a piece of the show actually. This hand drawn segment that was used to create the show itself, and it's like nothing's more one-to-one than that.
Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely one of one.
I definitely stayed with Pokemon cards, and Kinsley has gotten into them, and because of Nick now, I know what Whatnot is.
Oh no.
I ruined you.
Oh,
So I had a
let me
crazy
pour one out
weekend
for
on
you, buddy.
Whatnot.
Damn.
I was like, I'm not.
Your
I
poor
was sitting there
wallet.
for hours. I'm like, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna bet. I'm just gonna watch. Let me just connect my payment. We'll see what happens.
It's $2. It's
No,
$2.
Night went by. Yeah, no, I'm watching.
Dude,
That's
it's
a great
not
deal. That's a
that
great deal.
because
That's
where
a
they
great
get you is the shipping and the taxes, dude.
Yes.
So you go
that
like 25
hit me
bucks.
hard.
It ends
Yeah.
up being like
Yeah.
$35 when it's all said and done. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then hopefully you get like you buy multiple things for like the shipping discounts at
Yeah.
that point.
I'm
then
still
they got you
learning
locked
what
in.
any of those mean.
Yeah, but then I get into for buyers giveaways and stuff like that. I'll watch full shows and
I
just win
watched a guy
giveaways.
for like 4 hours on Pokemon cards the other day.
Did you win any giveaways or anything?
I did not win any giveaways. I do have a bunch of cards coming now though for Kinsley.
There you go.
But the problem is you win these things and then you don't remember which ones you won, and then they'll put the same cards out and be like, "Oh, that's a cool looking card. Did I win it already?" And so
But you can just check.
no. Well, how?
There's video receipts on everything you bought.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just go under like the transaction.
Well,
It'll say like video receipt.
I'm
and you can
deploying the
just-
strategy of just not going on the app until everything that I bought gets delivered, and then
Yeah,
we'll go back.
That's
and
also
we'll see what happens.
sound strategy, Cotton.
Because then I realized that my PayPal, which I thought was connected to my credit card, for some reason defaulted to
connected to
my
your bank
bank.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at my
Oh,
bank and I'm
no.
like, why are there like 17 PayPal transactions? And I go into my Whatnot, I'm like, It's
Dude, Whatnot's
all to my bank
dangerous,
and not my
dude.
credit card now.
Whatnot is so dangerous.
But it's a shiny
Hundreds.
Volumpion.
Right? Or Charmander, or like the rare art Bulbasaurs and shit.
Dude,
Like,
you know where they got me is I didn't know fan art was just fake cards.
oh god.
And so like I'm seeing all this, and this guy clearly has them labeled as fan art. I'm like, oh yeah, the fans probably do love this art. It's great art. I'm like, oh, that's dope. Let me buy this. And then I'm like, well, what is fan art? So I looked it up, and it's like, oh, they're not real cards. They're just made. I'm like, oh my
You
god.
bought you made that artist fucking
Oh.
weak, dude.
I'm like, dude, I've already spent like $70
did.
on these fan art
Oh,
cards that aren't even
God.
real. But hey, you live and you learn, and I've learned a lot of lessons.
He's just sitting back going, I'm in the money. I did it.
Yeah. Got you good, dude. Got you on $1.50.
Let's just say I have a drone coming. I have a VR headset. I have a foot massager.
When
I
you
got it
told
all
me,
coming, baby.
when you
All of
told
it's
me, I was like,
micro-sized.
We'll
Right.
see. We'll see.
I felt so bad. I'm like,
Is this for an
I
ant?
hate that that's where the future's going, though. I think that's where like
Scamming?
retail shopping and all of that.
We call it scamming. That's what
It's
it
not
is.
scamming,
Yeah, it is.
because there's other like there's shows on there that have like legit deals and
Hmm.
and things like that. I mean, I won a golf club the other day. I didn't buy anything.
Have you,
so-
Corey? Have you used Whatnot? Have you been sucked in? Sucked in and sucked off.
Yeah, Whatnot. I try to I know my habits and I know what I could find on Whatnot. And I have perused it just watching, it's
the
like
comic books.
definitely don't purchase anything because then I'll get stuck in there. But I know if I hop on Whatnot, it's
I've bought a
it's
few
good.
comic books. I bought a few
Oh, yeah.
comic books on Whatnot. Some like just like hard to find, not like real super hard to find stuff, but just
I know a
super
lot of
crazy
sellers
deals.
on there. They're always
Well,
like,
dude,
do my Whatnot. I'm like, no, it's I'm just went back. Here's my wallet.
right. A lot of that, dude,
Here's my
sometimes you
bank
can get
account.
deals. I like watching like the shows that don't have a ton of people and getting like some crazy deals.
Yeah.
You definitely get a good deal. I
They're
definitely
so mean. They're so. I feel like I want to turn the volume down because I get tired of hearing. Let's go check, go check, go check, go check, go. I'm like, oh my.
I
fuck,
don't watch those rooms.
I'm like, oh, are there different rooms?
Yeah.
'Cause that's all I see. I just see every time I switch, go check, go check, go check, go check. 'Cause I'm in like the fast lightning
Nah.
ones, and then
Yeah,
they're
I
always
like those too, but I don't. Anybody that's let's go. I mean, they all do it to an extent.
And they always
but
tell chat like, "Oh, you guys are fucking me. You're not. This is a steal."
again, I
unless
don't like those ones that are like, "Oh, you guys are fucking me." Like,
they're like, unless we get to $30 here, this is gonna be the last one. They end up doing like 10 more. I'm like,
Yeah, that's why I personally like meeting the person or knowing who this person is that I'm buying from. Is honestly, you never know if you're getting scammed or not. I mean, there's a lot of easy ways to tell if something's legit or not legit, but it's all about trusting the source that it comes from. And if it's a trustable, reliable source, like buy as much as you want. But I like to actually like, all right, I know this person. They're not scamming anyone. What they have is legit. It's authentic. It's verifiable. Let me make this purchase. If I'm sitting there on Whatnot, it's a quick impulse. I don't have time to think about it. I'm like, all right, I got to buy this now to get this deal. I don't want to miss it. A little bit of FOMO comes in, and next thing you know, you've got 17 packages coming your way.
Yeah,
I mean-
not wrong.
I mean, to a
Not
T.
wrong.
I have a lot to learn about Whatnot, and I've learned an expensive lesson. And we move on. We live and we learn.
Yeah, I load a card that can only have what I put on it on there, and then that's it. Once it's gone, it's gone.
There it is. Learning from a gambler. Learning from a gambling man.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we at then? So you know what? Before we get into it, I have one last question. Thursday, first episode of Big Brother. Corey, do you watch Big Brother? No?
Sorry, bud.
It's okay. I got shamed. I got shamed in my group chat the other day because I reached out like an asshole to see if, hey, did anybody else watch Big Brother? Want to join a fantasy thing, and everybody, oh, you watch Big Brother? What do you watch? Do you watch it live? Do you watch the late night? Like, dude, I just asked if anybody wanted
All
to
of
fucking
it.
join a fantasy thing. Like,
All of it.
what are you? Why am I getting attacked? They're like, oh, you don't. Well, we know that you don't watch Big Brother. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ! I just asked if you guys wanted to hang out.
Quick rundown. What is Big Brother?
Big
What?
Brother is what are they like 30 seasons now, Nick?
I don't know if it's that deep yet.
20,
It's at least 25.
Yeah,
26.
25, 26. So they put a bunch of people in a house. They disconnect them from, they can't have phones. They disconnect them from everything, and they live in a house and they have to play games. It's basically like a mix of Survivor. Like they play. Well, it's basically
28.
Survivor in a house.
28
But
seasons.
you play games to eliminate. You make evictions. You put people up. You backstab, all those things, and then
that
there's a
explains why I
jury
don't
at
watch
the
it.
end, and the winner. the twist is the winner has to be picked from the other losers. So it gets to a stage where it's the final 8, I think, right, Nick?
Mm-hmm.
Final 8, and then those people that then get eliminated, it's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, they become the jury, and then when it's the final 2, the jury decides who wins. So you kind of have to play multiple games within a game.
All right.
Yeah. It's
Well, no,
pretty-
I'm not. I did not watch it.
Interesting.
It's pretty cool, and it's the summer.
It's every summer.
It's what I've done every summer for the last like 20 plus years. So, it's super fun. To just it's on 3 nights a week. It's something that can completely consume your life. So,
Mr. High School here. So Corey infamously commented on our YouTube, how many times can you guys talk about high school? Or take a shot for every time they say high school.
Hey, me and my wife were having some drinks when we were watching that episode, and she was like, "Good God! Like they say high school like every 2 minutes." I was like, well, "We're just gonna have to drink every time they say it then."
Well, in high school is when I started watching it. Oh Lord, let's
It's
as
almost bad as 3 Man.
Let's get this episode started.
High school.
Let's get with the weekly mental health rotational opener. Last week we did Nick's favorite of song, so we flipped back around to the top of what's something small that made your day better. Typically, we start with the guest, Corey. Question to you.
Something small that made my day better would probably be my smallest kid today. At one point, that's my middle son right there with his cat link Galaxy. So earlier today, we're driving to Sky Zone so they can do a jump around, and we had stopped for food on the way there, and I had a drink that just had ice in it, and like I look back and like my youngest son is sitting in his chair and he's like doing this like falling out maneuver. So I hand him back my cup of ice because I know this kid loves eating ice like it's chips. So I put it back to him. I look at him. He just got this biggest grin, ear to ear, just smiling at me for this ice, and he just kept it the whole time. And like every time he'd reach in and just like take a bite, I'd look back in the window, and there he is, still just biggest grin all the way till we got to Sky Zone. So it was like that right there stuck with me. I was like in that moment, it's like, oh man, like everything that's going wrong or right, like it all just blends in, and it was just a beautiful moment where things like that just disappeared, and that was the moment that I was seeing, and I'm still seeing it now.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. How about you, Nick? Something small made your day better.
Well, everything's gonna fail in comparison to that.
Hey, put your pants on.
Yeah, no pants. It's a no pants pod. Come on,
no
dude.
Pants pod. Taints only.
That's the Patreon's view only.
Ain't no pod like a no pants pod.
No pants pod. I don't. All my wins seem to just be work related. I don't do a lot outside of that a lot these days, except for like golf and stuff. But I didn't golf today. Just getting. I don't really have anything specific, but I had just a good overall day. So I'll just go with. It was just a good day.
Connecting with C-Rod and Corey on the You Good podcast.
Well, you look good today, Nikki.
Better.
Thank you.
You're glowing.
See, no nips. So
Not yet.
Being called Nips was the best thing that happened to you today.
There you go.
Oh, Nipples cherry.
I had a realization just, I was talking to somebody about the last few weeks and being able to, going through the last few weeks. I know we talked about it a lot. Things were going wrong last month, but the last week to 10 days, everything's been going positive. And Carter had one of his doctor checkups. They said everything looks great from his last surgery. We're going to see him again in a month. Then after that, hopefully 6 months. And then after hopefully that, maybe it's yearly checkups. But the small news was that hopefully Carter's surgeries that he's been having for the last 3 years are in the clear, and he just starts on his path to growing. So
That's awesome.
small win for me.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's definitely not a small win. That's the championship.
It's a championship. Hey, we take it day at a time. And just hope he keeps getting healthy and growing, and that's what it is. We look forward. Great. So love starting the episode with just small wins. It's always good to talk about positivity. If you are listening, I encourage you to say something out loud that was a small win for you today, even if there's nobody there to listen. At least you're putting it out there into the universe. So love the mental health rotational overs. I appreciate you guys sharing that. We are so, I feel like we've been talking about so many things so far, and we're just kind of getting into the episode itself. And it's funny, Corey, because you and I have talked about this already a little bit, but the theme to this episode is just how we were together in high school. There was a lot of our adult years where maybe we didn't stay connected because of this podcast, whatever it may be, you following us or listening or being connected to Nick or reaching out and, saying you want to be a part of this episode has just got us connected again on socials, catching up again here. And I think that is what drives a lot of what Nick and I are hoping to get out of this, just reconnection and positivity. And even if it's just nostalgia, but talking about where life has taken us. But before we kind of get into where life has taken you, I wanted to start with, just 30 years of knowing the Cherry Brothers, already having that anecdotal story about Nips. Talk to me about growing up around the Cherry Brothers and, the Chipa Pizza days and what that looked like for the two of you.
Well, see, growing up with them, it's really hard to think back where we actually met because we did go to Kitty College when I was like 3 years old. Me and his brother Eric were in kindergarten together in Miss Yowell's class, and we also played tiny tot soccer together when we were real little. But after kindergarten is when they opened up the other elementary schools in the area. They got zoned for a different school, so there was a moment there where we didn't really have time with each other. Then my house in Deltona burnt down, and we had a rental house that was literally 2 blocks down the street from where they lived on Lindsay.
Wait a second. For some reason, people like to blow through things here on the podcast where overshare is encouraged and thoughts get real. Something comes up and people just want to blow past it. Nick was trying to blow past pond jumping. Now we're going to blow past a house burning down.
Tropical pole vaulting.
Yeah, whatever.
Just a typical,
time out.
House burned down.
What happened?
Typical house burned down.
So I was a little kid, maybe like 8, 9 years old, and I was having a sleepover at the house. Eric wasn't there at the time. Then we was one of that disconnect moments. But it's like I remember smelling this smell that was like, "What are you guys cooking?" And my mom was like, "I'm not cooking anything. What's it smell like?" I was like, "It smells like something's cooking." And I go walk back and the bedroom's on fire. Like the curtains are up, the bed's on fire, and it's like, oh shit, there's a fire. So my parents get out of the house. So we just ran out of the house, and a good chunk of the house burnt down.
Wow.
And when the fire inspector came into the thing, what they found out was that there was squirrels had gotten up into the attic and were chewing on stuff, and they chewed some wires that shorted an outlet that caught the curtain and bed on fire.
Wow.
Good old 90s Deltona,
That's goddamn squirrels, man. Goddamn squirrels.
Rodents. The rodents got them.
But
I'm sorry that happened to you. That's crazy.
It was as a kid, we lost everything. It was it was mine and my brother's room that burnt down. So it was that's everything we had.
Good thing you weren't in there,
Right. Well, it was that day we were having a friend sleepover that was oh, we're gonna sleep in the living room this day. And the thing is
Wild.
that kid, his dad was the fire marshal. So it was like as soon as our address popped up, it was like send everyone.
Yeah. Wow. That's
So
crazy.
yeah, but out of that, even my dad was like, we lost everything, but we're gonna get brand new everything. Awesome. So we had to go stay in this rental house that was 2 blocks down from Lindsay Terrace, where Nick and Eric had grown up. And that's where we had the first reconnection with the Cherries.
Mm.
We'd meet up, hang out, we'd go to Campbell Park, and I remember me and Eric getting suspended, getting grounded for 2 weeks because we went and hung out with each other and didn't tell our parents where we were, and they were freaking out looking for us, and here we are just riding our bikes like, hey, like, no, you're grounded. But yeah,
Not
I
know
would
they did anything wrong.
before that, we'd have sleepovers at the house. I know my mom would probably say something like, I remember when all 3 of the Cherry brothers threw up all of my carpet. Yeah, at one of those sleepovers as kids.
Might have happened.
I have no idea.
But it was after that moment with the house got rebuilt, we moved back to that house, and we no longer lived on that down from the street from them. And I didn't have any really contact with the Cherries until probably when Nick got into high school with band, and my brother was in band. And then his brother Eric was also in band in middle school. So when me and him were both in 8th grade, they had a middle school night at Deltona High School, and me and Eric saw each other then. And I remember like going like, here's this fat kid with glasses that is weird. I don't want to exactly. It's like he had one too many Happy Meals that day. I was like, oh, this is kind of a little weird. And then I remember feeling bad for thinking about that, so I called and left a voicemail on your guys' voicemail. They're like, hey, it's Corey Bridwell. I just wanted to tell Eric I wanted to hang out with him. And then kind of from that voicemail, we reconnected, and we weren't the same ever since. We hung out all
in a pod for everybody to hear. Is not.
We hung out all through high school until Eric moved to Vero, and even still, like that just like strengthened our friendship. Because there was distance, we really would cherish the moments that we did get to hang out with each other. And
so who's the cooler Cherry, Nick or Eric?
I'm gonna say Eric is. Nothing against Nipples, but Tits is, he's Tits. And it's funny that you talk about like nicknames, like them being like both being Cherries. When I went and visited him in California recently, I'm calling him like, hey, Eric. And everyone's looking at me like, who the hell's Eric? They all know him as Cherry. They don't know him as Eric. So like some people are like discovering his name for the first time as me being out there going, come on, Eric.
It's funny that it's reversed. Nick said people don't call him Cherry anymore. And now Eric, people only know him by Cherry. That's kind of crazy.
Exact people, they're like, this is my best friend, and it's like, you don't even know his name.
You don't even know his name. Aggie Tommy.
I always feel so weird calling Nick, and that's why I call him like Nicholas a lot on here. Because I mean, to me, he's Cherry, and it's always so weird to just say Nick and Nicholas.
It's in his gamer tag, Papa Cherry.
Any fun stories of Nick? I love having guests on that know Nick's background and some of the details, and I always try to get a little story or two from some people that may have something buried that Nick doesn't remember. But anything interesting from the Chipa Pizza days? Any good stories from the pizza shop?
So when I started working at Chipa Pizza was because his brother Eric also worked at Chipa Pizza, and because he moved to Vero, they needed someone to work at Chipa, and I was like, I could work that. So I got the job at Chipa Pizza as the dishwasher, and Nick you were the delivery driver.
Mm-hmm.
And worked there with Justin Bice and Anthony Napoli. Al Burnham was making pizzas at that time, and so was Greg.
Greg still there? Yeah.
Greg was still there. Ebony was the bartender, and of course,
and waitress. Yeah.
Oh, Peckerneck Gary.
Southpaw.
I was like, Becker Woods.
All right, we don't have to name every employee.
I'm trying to remember. I'm like, who worked at Chipa back then? Southpaw Gary for sure. But no, it was
Ken used to sell us fucking lottery tickets underage. I
Oh,
used
for
to
sure.
get full kegs at 18 years
half
old.
barrels, with
All
12 pack,
because,
24
all because
pack.
we worked at Chipa. It was awesome.
Let me cash my check over there, take it out of the check.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just cash it out and take it from the pizza shop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just remember with Kenton, it would always be like, let's see what like the spiciest thing we can make and let's get Kenton to eat it.
That would, yeah.
And what's the spiciest thing?
I mean, they had this pill bottle that was called Pure Cap that was like 10 million Scoville units or whatever units you want, the highest thing. And it was like in a pill dropper, and we put a couple drops of that with like some Ghost Reaper sauce. And
Did you eat it?
I
Oh,
did a
hell
little
no.
dip, but we had slice open someone's meatball and stick it in Scotty's meatball, and he'd take a bite of it and die. And Kenton would come take a bite of it and be like, "Oh, that's a little hot," and like take more bites out of it.
Let's go from Chipa Pizza and let's take a flip to back to high school, the graduation party. So I had what I believe is one of the best high school graduation parties in our area, to the point where my parents built a whole dance floor like in our backyard, because our backyard is sloped and it goes down to the lake, and we didn't have a patio or a deck at that time. So my parents literally built a deck just to have a party out there, and got like a big tent, put it in the backyard, ordered porta potties, uh had to get security because I had people coming to my house that were not invited to my graduation party. My uncle was going out and getting multiple kegs. I'm pretty sure we blew through at least 6 kegs at our the graduation party, let alone from all of the bottles. There's so many stories of just like people falling into the lake or passing out in the backyard. Like it was a fantastic graduation party, and I haven't talked about it, I don't think, in a long time, because I don't really have too many people to talk about it. But Corey, you were at my high school graduation party.
I sure was. I was one of the lucky juniors that was in there.
There were so many people inside and outside of our grade that were trying to come, people that graduated already from high school, a lot of outsider crowd that I didn't really like, what they got into, and literally at one point we were kicking people out and turning them away from the backyard to get in. What do you remember about the party itself? Because I remember that I was with the baseball boys at the time. I was with Nicole Nelson. So I remember a lot of the time was spent with the baseball guys and being with Nicole. But the dance floor and everything that we had a DJ out there. What's kind of your memory of that at that party, and do you have any crazy stories from it?
So I was I knew you because we had you were a TA for Miss Dovey, and that's when I first met you. We didn't really have any classes together, but we interacted a lot with each other. I was really cool with Chris Sarametta, and he was the one that was like, "Dude, we got to come to this party. It's cool for you to come. We've already talked about it. Like, you come to this party." I was like, "Cool, I'll definitely come to the party." Show up there, like there was getting in there, like just seeing the amount of people that was in there. I was like, all right, like there's parents here. This cool. We're cool to do this. It wasn't like normal house parties where we had to wait for someone to be out of town, or like so and so is throwing this party because their parents aren't home. So it's like, cool, that's when we let loose. But here we are, like, all right, we're basically allowed to be free range in front of the parents right now. So we get in there, and like you said, everything was nice, set up beautifully. Everyone's having a good social time, and like throughout the night, as of course the drinking just progressively gets more and more, beer turns to liquor, turns to beer. People are getting more rowdy, jumping on top of beer pong tables, whatnot, dancing loudly, just getting ridiculous. And it's getting close to time. I can't even remember really how much I drank that night, because it was just so much of celebration going on, and it was really a happy time. You didn't really get to see too much of the people that were showing up uninvited, because that happened out in front of the house. We were all out back having a great time, so it's like, whatever issues there were, we kind of hear about it, and it's like, okay, great, we're gonna do a cake stand over here now, we're gonna go play the next round of beer pong. And like, I remember you can't really remember blacking out, but I remember waking up like down by the lake, like my pants are soaking wet because my feet were in the water. I guess I decided to just go sit there with my legs in the water or something. And I remember walking back up to the house and like my vision was shaky. I got up to the porch and then next thing I wake up on one of the tables on the porch, just kind of laying there and the sun's coming up. And it's like, Jesus Christ, what in the hell's going on in this place? What am I doing here? Yeah, just walking around seeing just the mangled mess of like people just like, all right, they're sleeping there, they're
Bodies,
sleeping
yeah.
there.
The
Oh, but no,
aftermath was incredible. My parents were of the philosophy that if they weren't going to keep me from drinking, and instead of hiding it or drinking where there were no adults present, whatever the story might be, they would rather me just drink at the house and have fun, act like they're not there, but that way they could chaperone everything. And we had multiple parties, throughout my high school career, whether it was for New Year's or my birthday, July 4th, where my parents would be like, people can come over. They have to give me their keys so that way they can't drive home. Everybody has to spend the night, have a good night, have fun. And that was just their mentality, which I love, where they're watching everybody, making sure everybody's having a good time, being safe, and we're not drinking and driving or going out and doing, illegal things or crazy things. And that was just
More
one of the
more
blow-offs
illegal.
with
that was
party.
part of like being let in. You had to like give up your keys or prove that you didn't drive there.
Yep.
And I was like, I remember driving there and I was like, my dad's gonna come pick up the car now because there's no way in hell that I'm like leaving here at this point. I might even want to be tempted to drive. Or I have to look for my keys in the morning. So I remember calling my dad saying like, "Hey Dad, I'm doing this party. Come pick up the keys." And he was like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
My parents basically the same philosophy. We're not gonna stop you from doing it. If we try to stop you, you're just gonna go out and hide it from us.
Right.
And then something bad's gonna happen and we're not gonna know. So it was very easy to say, "Hey, I'm gonna go do some drinking," and then be like, "Okay, are you safe? You're cool? Do you need me to take the car? Or are you staying there? Someone taking the keys?" It was no brainer to do that stuff, and to be able to even get into the party, you had to pass that stuff up. It was like,
my,
okay.
my mom, dad, my uncle, they were all pretty serious about it. And I think only one time ever did we ever have somebody like get drunk and try to fight to get their keys back from my parents. But most other than that, everybody was pretty respectable. But I thought it was a great idea. But I think as my kids get older, I am probably going to have that same mentality of like, hey, I've done all of the things you're about to do, and I would rather you be open about it than hide it from me. And hey, if you guys want to go, have people over and party in the living room, I'd rather you do that than going out and drinking and driving and being wherever.
It all depends on the age. I said if I was 14 years old doing that stuff, if I catch my kid at 14 doing that,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
no,
no,
that
God.
ain't happening.
No.
Nope.
My parents were under the same philosophy. However, this one and my brother would steal my liquor out of my room
Regularly.
in high school. Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm not saying that I never tried to do things that my parents didn't know about, but I was able to talk to them a little bit more about things. Like I remember one time we had, if you're listening to this and you were at my parents' house one night, I forgot who was there. I think it was like Phil Mariani, I think Nicole and Ashley, maybe Chris and Selma or Brett. I don't know. But we had a truth table. I think we were all drinking. I think Chris Sarametta might have been there, but my mom was like, all right, let's all sit at this table. I think we were playing some game. And she's like, this is the truth table. And she got us to like share all these stories that we had never told anybody because it stayed at the truth table, but she was just gathering information. I'd have to ask her if she remembers, if there was any.
She's like, oh yeah, no, it went in my diary, and I wrote down everybody's dark secrets.
It says here.
Man. So it was a good party, a good time. Like you said, getting to know you through Chris Sarametta, that's absolutely, my memories too of kind of where you came from, and you were always a genuine person. Chris has, a pretty good inner circle of people. You said something to me the other day about Liquid Cellar, and I have absolutely no recollection of, and I don't mean this in any way, but seeing you in college or out there in Orlando, So if anybody is listening that doesn't know, in college at UCF in Orlando, I worked at a hole in the wall bar called Liquid Cellar. I think we've had some guests on that talked about it at the time. It was one of my first ever jobs outside of the restaurant business, working security at a dirty old bar with drunk old men. And then the college people invaded it, and all of a sudden I'm working door. And most of the time I was just selling wristbands to people underage and pocketing most of that money. Like there's no good that came from that place. Like everything I did and I learned was just really bad. But I always have great stories of people who are like, oh, you were the door guy at Cellar, or you were the security guard at Cellar. It was one of the best times of my life. So all of that to say, what story do you have from Liquid Cellar? And is there anything that you recall from those times as well?
Liquid Cellar will remain to be some of the most ridiculous times I've ever had in my life. Again, I can attribute some of this stuff to Chris Sarametta, because I was still in high school when the stuff was going on. He was like, me and Chris, we did a fair amount of drinking in our thing. Sorry if parents are listening to it, but yes, we drank a lot back in our days, and it was one of those moments where he's like, hey, dude, like, Chris is working the door at Liquid Cellar. You want to come to Girls Gone Wild night with me? I was like,
Girls Gone Wild night.
I was like, yeah.
Those are good nights.
Yeah.
Those are good nights.
Sure.
Jesus
I still kind of looked like this. I still had the facial hair. I had some tattoos back then. So it was easy to pass off either way. And, it was in that moment, Chris was like, yeah, come on, let's go. So I went, and I was like, we did the whole doorman Rodriguez thing, and we were in and did the all you can drinking with the Girls Gone Wild. And I was like, oh man, that's crazy. Like, let me do this again. We did it again. I was like, all right, let's bring some friends. Let's bring some other people. And I was like, so, we're going out there in packs of droves of people, but it's like each time we went out there, it just progressively got more and more, because you'd pay the doorman, and then you would just go in, and it was either drink free till whatever time it was. To us, it seemed like it was drink free all night, or it was like $3 pitchers. So here we are stacking $3 pitchers of Blue Long Island and Sex on the Beach and however much we can to this. Drinking like slobs.
Pitchers, like full ass pitchers of Long Island iced tea was everybody was just walking around drinking pitchers. And at one point,
like they were Percy's.
And at one point, they ran out of pitchers behind the bar, and it was like, oh, whenever we get some more, we'll wash them and then we can sell you more. So people would like hoard their pitchers. There would be literally people fighting trying to get pitchers so they could go and get more drinks. It was
we're stacking them. Let's do the ceiling. How high can we stack this shit? And moments like that was just pure fun, of where you can, again, just unfiltered nonsense of that. And you have all this time where it's like you would have a crazy night at Cellar where nothing bad would happen. You'd go down to the sub shop next door, and it'd be like a really wholesome experience. And then you go out there one night where it's like, Call Me the Breeze plays, and the bar's brawling, and the place is blowing up, and at one
people
moment,
with shotguns in the parking lot.
You're punching one person in front of you and being flipped over someone else's shoulders, and then riot police are coming in there.
By multiple cops chasing him through the parking lot. And
the crazy thing is
like,
I think that was one of my friends.
What?
Right. So there's people that are going to watch this that know this story that were there. There was a huge brawl inside the Cellar. Huge. There was multiple parties that were going on that were just fighting and stuff. And everyone got kicked out, moved to the parking lot. And as we're being moved to the parking lot, same shit's happening over in Night Library. So the rowdy people from Night Library are fucking coming out. So here you got parking lot filled with cops and rowdy people where there's fights just happening everywhere. And I can recall at one moment hearing one of our friends cursing out up a storm, and look up and you see this cop just running at him with this taser. Get the fuck out of here! Run from one side of the parking lot to the other just to get into another fight with people that are like, oh, I just want to see a fight.
You knew that guy? Dude, that's so crazy.
Yeah, how stories come together like that.
That's so
at moments like that, it's just like, this is ridiculous. Like, here we are getting into bar fights, being kicked out of the bar, but still like doing all this crazy stuff, running from the cops, speeding off, doing donuts out of the parking lot, and driving home and making it home safely, and having my parents stitch us up on the front porch. Just another day for a senior in high school.
God damn, another day at Liquid Cellar. I could talk about Liquid Cellar all day long. Just one of the craziest times and best times of my life. I don't know.
When you said multiple brawls and Chris just goes, "Yep, yeah," I'm just like, that's the head of security just going, "Yeah, multiple brawls, probably my fault."
Yeah, getting in a fight. I'm like, let me just get one more picture before I go.
Oh, it's about to be last call. All right, let me just chug this pitcher.
I'm gonna drink to
Long
that
Island.
one.
There's no such thing as Uber, and we're gonna head out.
Blue Long Islands. You guys got avatars.
At one point, the plaza, which is no longer there, unfortunately, it was like a boomerang shaped plaza. Now it's a parking garage, but the movie theater has sold out, and they turned it into a club. Then there was Liquid Cellar on the left. There was Night Library and the Dungeon on the right. And then there was a pizza shop. There was a sub shop. And then there was a McDonald's in the parking lot, like right outside. So you had all three of these dirty ass club college people converging on each other and then loitering at these eateries for hours. And there was just so many crazy things that happened in that parking lot that spilled out from these bars. And I don't think that college kids these days have experiences like that anymore.
No, they go to jail.
The craziest parts were always the raids. I remember, especially during the summer, the cops would raid us at least 3 times a week. And when you had like friends in there, you always knew when the raid was coming because I would be at the door and I'd see the cops obviously come up and they'd come in. So you'd give like an announcement or a heads up, like the bar's about to be raided. Everybody would rip their wristbands off, start walking out the door with their pockets in their hands.
It'd be vans, just vans out in front of the place.
So many people got taken and arrested for drinking underage. Wild. Wild times. Let's grow up though. Let's grow up and become a responsible father and man and head chef, managing a line, managing a restaurant. I wanted what today's episode really is about, right? Is starting from the bottom, the journey in the restaurant business to, getting your name on a door that says, you're the chef here at this establishment. I want to talk to you. I want to talk about everything that we just talked about and just what it's like growing up, starting at the bottom of a vicious industry, having a family, having kids. One of the busiest times during the restaurant business is holidays, going through all of that to kind of get to where you've come today. But let's start at the bottom. What are kind of the early years of Corey in the restaurant business?
Well, it does draw back to Chipa Pizza is where it comes at. From being in high school, I think it was culinary classes where I was, where you were the TA for with Miss Dovey. Yeah, I know you did a lot of cooking in high school with that stuff.
I did. I remember. Thoroughly enjoyed culinary class.
I remember coming to whenever you would cook, you would have like that morning window that you could walk up to and get stuff from. Like during lunchtime, it was a special lunch you can go get.
Yeah, we did. What did we do? I think we did pancakes and cookies.
Cookies. I remember the cookies.
We definitely made cookies.
Underbake the cookies, please.
you liked a gooey cookie. Yeah, I loved culinary class and cooking. That's funny that you remember that.
So yeah, I mean, I was in high school. I was at one point I was the vice president of the FCCLA Chefs Club because I worked at Chipa so much. So like I really based the fundamentals of cooking really came from Chipa Pizza, the prep work, the understanding of keeping things cold and keeping hot things hot. From Chipa, when Chipa Pizza sold to the person that it sold to, it was basically everyone that worked there decided you were going to stay with that person or you were going to move on to another restaurant. I decided to move on, and I jumped into a place that was too advanced for me at the time. It was eye-opening. I worked this line. It was called Pomodoro's. It was more of a fine dining Italian establishment. And I thought because I had some knowledge at yeah, it was in DeBerry.
Is it not still open?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay, sorry to cut you off. I've been there before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a small town, and I won't say
Yeah.
Deltona, the very Orange City, you're all connected in that area. But
Absolutely.
going from there to from Chipa Pizza to that, thinking like, if I can do it cheap, I can do it this place, and I was horribly wrong. It was eye-opening, like, I didn't know shit. Like, I lasted maybe a couple weeks there, and they were like, "Yeah, man, you're just not keeping up with us," and I was like, "Okay, well, maybe this cooking stuff isn't for me." So I started over at a Panera Bread, where I learned how to do, bacon, and, that really drew in a passion for the understanding of food and making good food back then. And
What was that like with the rejection? And in being so young, I feel like a lot of the times it's easy for us to just give up, right? We're talking about cooking, we're talking about baking. You're 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, whatever. You can do anything. What's that like being rejected and saying, "Okay, I'm gonna go from a pizza place to a fine eating establishment to now kind of a fast food," not really fast food, but they're a little bit more than fast food. But what's that journey like in your head?
thinking about how I was back then, I was a pretty big hothead back then. My dad had just passed away, so I was trying
Mm,
to work wherever I could to be able to provide. 70% of the household income was gone. So it's like, all right, we got to provide for ourselves now. So I was like, let me get this job because I know if I can work here, it'll pay good. And the pay, back then I think was, you know, $14 an hour, and you're talking 2008, $14 an hour was decent. And not being able to keep up with that was like, wow, if I'm gonna like want to be in this industry, I got to get better. And it's like, well, am I going to go to culinary school? No, I'm not going to
mm.
go to culinary school. That's way too expensive. Well, let me go get a job at a place that will teach me, and they'll pay me to teach me. So I was like, I'll get paid to learn this stuff. So I went and started baking. Did that, some prep work, working at Panera Bread, and ultimately I grew out of that style quickly, and I got this job at a bar called Scruffy Duffers, and that was like a one man show. Whereas like, yeah, it was such a small place, but it had a very straightforward menu: burgers, wings, Phillies, a couple salads, drop some stuff in the deep fryer. It was very simple, but I learned the fundamentals of working a whole line just from that little spot. And I took my experience from there when Route 46 had opened up in Sanford. I
Yep.
started working there, and I was like, all right, I've got this knowledge of basically I know how to work every station on the line. Let me learn how to do this with a team. And that's what Route 46 gave me, was like, okay, now I know how to work together as a team. Let's let's find out the fundamentals of running this restaurant, because now I know how to cook. Now I know how to work with a team. What's it take running the place? So you start learning about food ordering and inventory levels and
Why did that
scheduling.
intrigue you?
Well, it was something that I was finding that I was getting pretty decent at. It came natural. Like, it didn't really take a whole lot of thought. It was kind of like, hey, this is how it's done. Okay, all right, this is how it's done. I can do that. No problem. And that's how it's done. How can I improve it? So it intrigued me in that sense. And when it comes down to that, I take all those moments that led me up into where I was at Duffy's. And when I started at Duffy's, it was like, all right, I had just had my first son. I was leaving, I had just left a restaurant that was going to be closing. So it was like, I got to get my foot in this door. This is an established restaurant that has potential to pay out for you. So I started at the bottom at Duffy's. And from there, that was that's where I just had to take it to the next level. Where it's like, all right, now I've got to impress people. I've got to show my skills. What do I know how to do? Take everything I've learned from everywhere, the bad, the good, and let's apply it to here and let's see if I can make it work. And I was promoted.
Was that kind of the position where you saw the vision of what you were doing in the industry change? Where
I
this is
mean,
kinda like, "Hey."
having a kid really changed my perception of the industry, because it
Yeah.
was no longer like, oh man, I'm just gonna work this for fun. It was like, all right, I need to work this because I have a purpose now. I've got, when I say purpose, not that people have a purpose, but having a kid is like, that's your, when you have a kid, that's your only purpose, is to
Mm.
be able to take care of and provide for that kid. So it's like, which job is going to be able to supply that to me? And seeing the chefs that I work for Duffy's, they're making really big bucks, and it's like, man, like, that's what I need to make in order to make life work right now. So working from the bottom on up, and really teaching it, learning it from how these guys were doing it, seeing where they were doing it wrong, and going, all right, this is where they're doing it wrong. Don't do it that way. do it a little differently. And through time, through molding, you just look at the people next to you and you see like, all right, you work with a whole team of talented people that know how to do this job, but they're terrible cleaners. So just be a better cleaner than them. If they're just as skilled as a cook as you are, but they're a terrible cleaner, well, I can move past them just by cleaning the grill a little bit better, taking on a cleaning project like pulling the hoods down. You know,
Yeah.
I know you guys being in the industry know that you can't just show up to work and cook and just leave.
Dude,
There's a lot of cleaning involved.
I'll tell you what, we went out to Red Robin the other day in Champions Gate over by Orlando, and we just had such a bad dining experience from like a waitress standpoint, where the waitress had 3 tables and we literally sat at the door for like 15 minutes waiting for her to come over to seat us. So we sat ourselves, but just like so bad. The people that are in the industry, I wish were more like you, because some people are just so bad at what they do. Where like, how are you acting like you're slammed when you have 3 tables? And
Right.
I just feel like that discipline is missing ever since COVID, when the whole restaurant industry changed. I feel like we lost a lot of good industry people because they had to go somewhere else.
Well, most of that work ethic isn't like taught. You can't teach someone to work like that. You either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
You can develop someone into it. And I've developed lots of people that had little to no experience into becoming the best in the business. They leave Duffy's and become head chefs themselves at their own restaurant that they decided to go to. And it's like, they come back to me and like, man, like I would have never made it here if you hadn't shown me how to do it that way. They would be the worker that, like, just like me back at Pomodoro, was like, damn, like I don't want to work with this kid. He's no good. He can't do it. I would take a kid like that and be like, dude, let me show you what I mean about how this stuff is supposed to work. And if you can do it that way, if you can master it here, you can be a monster anywhere. And whatever moment comes down, whatever they have in their life, they decide they have to leave Duffy's, whether they're moving away or it's just not lining up with their interests anymore. Most of the time it's because they had to move something that was out of their control. But then they would message me a year later and be like, hey, I got this job at this restaurant up here in Boston. I'm going to try to stick it out and see how it does. And then they message me again a year later. Hey man, I'm the sous chef here. Everything
awesome.
you taught, I've attributed everything you taught me into doing this. And now I'm being promoted and being moved up the chain. And, I'm doing this because of the way you taught me. And it's like, that's
Hell yeah.
one of the most humbling things out of it. You go from being the guy that no one wants to work with to creating these people that you need in the industry for it to function properly.
I think that's one of the most rewarding parts of networking, like when you're just in an industry, because that's what I enjoy too about my job in sales, is just having that network and still having that relationship with people that I've managed at a point in time, watching them go on to be successful. Nick, I have a question for you, just kind of as we talk about the restaurant business. Your life kind of went a little bit different after Chipa Pizza, but do you think that you could handle getting back into a kitchen or working behind a kitchen at this point in your
There
life?
is no way in hell I would ever get back in a kitchen. And it's for me, it sucked the joy out of cooking. I didn't like cooking for other people. It just wasn't my thing. It paid well. It was a good job. I have a skill now that kind of trumps that, so I don't
In what?
what I do now.
Okay.
It's the CNC, the programming, the CADing, the camming, all of
Gotcha.
that.
It's what you love.
Yeah, but aside from that, um, cooking was what I did when I quit and started to do what I do now. I was cooking. So, no, I would never go back. And it's not like it was unpleasant or anything. I enjoyed it. I don't necessarily like the long hours that it entails sometimes, unless you're at the top, and even then you still requires long hours. So
Yeah,
It's
for
the
sure.
weekends. It's the weekends. It's the
it's
weekends for
the
me.
late nights,
Yeah.
early mornings.
What's a
that
weekend?
was it
Yeah, exactly.
on the
You
weekend,
talk about Tuesdays, yeah.
right? Yeah. But it's the closing Friday night, opening Saturday morning, like that I don't have any interest in.
Glorious
Clopin.
like
yeah, Clopin. Might as well not even go home. Just sleep in the parking lot. That's that sort of thing. Yeah, no. If I didn't do what I did, I'd probably be involved in a restaurant in some capacity.
My mom wanted to sell me. My mom wanted to give me her restaurant. When I was done, I was done. I did not want to go. Granted, I could have. And that's the only thing that makes me want to go back sometimes is just seeing how bad servers are today. Like when I see a really good server, I'm like, man, you are just such a good server. And I will tell them, I'm like, this was such a good dining experience because I wish more people were like you. And I'm just like, man, I could jump back into like 80% of these restaurants and be better than some of these people out there. It just drives me crazy. It drives me insane. Like they're so entitled. Now they want 22%. Like sometimes now when you go to the credit card machine, it's 22, 25, 27. I'm like, give me 15 now. You just lost 2%
the minimum for sure.
It's honestly, it's not hard to like be like, no problem, I'm giving this person a 25% tip because not only is the food good, it's the service. Really, you don't have to ask for a drink refill, the attentiveness, the communication. That's all it takes to have a good experience. Even if the food sucks, you could still have a good experience.
Or it's taking forever or anything like that. Like you never having to ask what's going on goes such a long way.
Yeah. Just being positive, saying hello, how's your day? Here's the menu. Like don't just be like, oh, hey, what do you want? All right. Okay,
the
thanks.
personal connection. It's the difference between service and hospitality. You want fries with that? Okay, great. $9.97. That's your service. How's it going today? Well, what type of day are you having? What did you eat? Oh, like, what do you want to eat today? What did you eat yesterday? You had chicken yesterday? Let me recommend the beef today. Making a personal connection is what changes that from going like, as soon as you see that tip, you're like, yeah, I'm like, I don't want to tip this guy, or like, I'm going to tip the bill.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Corey,
it's a real thing.
Corey, do you remember the most stressful shift you've ever had?
A lot of them.
Is there one that stands out like that was just the worst of the worst?
Yeah,
that made you rethink everything.
St. Patrick's Day of 2016.
God damn! What happened 10 years ago that hurt you?
Oh my gosh, it was probably the busiest I'd ever worked in a restaurant. So like, like whenever you hear like restaurant, if you know the industry and you talk about volume of work, like how much you do in a day, like, oh man, we made 17,000 today. And like, that's a busy day. Like working today, whenever we do 17 grand in a day, which it does happen quite regularly, it's like, that's a busy day. So if 17 grand was a busy day, we did 55,000.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was a Saturday. It was a block party that was going on in the plaza.
Liam's was
thousands
still there,
of people. Yeah, Liam's was there. Graffiti Junction was there. Dexter's was there, and we were a newly established restaurant. So like we had the full St. Patrick's Day menu, corned beef and cabbage, you name it, and like. I'm talking like, things like you're talking about waiting long for your food. I had ticket times that were at like 90 minutes. Like we hadn't even started. And it's like, oh yeah, there's 16 corned beef and cabbages on 90 minutes.
Sounds good.
Yep. You'll grab one if it's there. Like what are you doing? It's just like you're looking like the trash cans are overflowed. Your screen says plus 38. You don't know what's down. Half the grill's on fire. The fry cook is screaming. Someone cut their fucking finger. It's hot. Someone's dehydrated. The dishwasher slipped and fell. Someone knocked over 7 glass racks. Like, everything.
More ramekins.
Complete restaurant chaos going on. And like at the end of
somebody roll the silverware.
When we burned through it and like we like bumped the last like screen, and it's like you look around, it's like, all right, great job, guys.
Now we get to clean
Now
it
we
Yeah,
have
up.
to
let's-
clean up for another
let's
hour and a half.
clean this mess. Well, like
We can-
honestly, cleaning up after the block parties was never too bad because you'd be at the restaurant till 3 a.m, and by that time the parking lot's cleared. You go out in the parking lot and find wallets, purses, watches, phones, all kinds of bags and stuff just laying around. People just dropped everywhere, and you're like, all right, well, now that the party's over, we have our own parking lot party now.
Those fucking block parties were insane.
You pack thousands of people in like that tight in a space, and of course,
So nuts.
at Duffy's, the drinks are 2 for 1, so you can't just go and be like, let me get a Long Island. All right, you're getting 2 of them, buddy.
You want beer? Here's some green ones.
Exactly, and here's 2 of them.
Well, now they give you doubles instead of 2 singles.
There is an option, like you can put your 2 for 1 into 1 drink if it's a mixed drink, but
So
that's what Duffy's prides itself on, is their 2 for 1 drinks.
I have a question, right? Because people know Duffy's, they probably think sports bar, sports food, but there's something that differentiates Duffy's, I think, from like a Hooters, right? Is they employ chefs like yourself, head chef at Duffy's. What is the difference between a cook and a chef, and what does being head chef at Duffy's kind of actually mean from a day-to-day perspective?
I would say the difference between that and being knowledge and experience is what really separates the cook from the chef. The chef really has to take a step back and look at the broad picture, as opposed to the cook. You might be cooking one station that day, or you might be cooking one station while helping another station. Your spectrum is very narrow. This is where I'm working. This is what I'm doing, as opposed to the chef. From my point of view, I'm working everything. I'm watching everything. I know what's going on in your station. I know what's coming out of your station. I have to know
Managing
what's,
all the cooks at the same time that you're cooking, right?
I have to know what's going on in my coolers, what the inventory levels of the coolers are, what's the product of this, what's the quality of the product that's sitting in these coolers. Is it good enough to use? Are we rotating things properly? Are things remaining to be fresh? Is things in date? I have to worry about the inspections that are always pending. You always got to have them on their toes to say, okay, tomorrow's the inspection, today's the inspection. I'd like an inspector to walk in the door and me just go, oh, come right in. Take a look around, as opposed to, oh shit, the inspector's here. Everybody scurry to make sure the mop is hung up and that our temperatures are cool and that the stations are wiped. It's not stuff that's very easily learned, but it's something easy to do once you have a routine in place. Once you've made that routine a habit, and that habit routine is when things really start to work excellently. And if you don't have that team, it won't work. It never does, which is why one of the greatest things that I pride myself on is that the team that I've worked with for just about as long as I've been at Duffy's. I have employees that have been with me 11 years. I have cooks that have cooked with me for 8 years. My newest employee is a dishwasher who's been with me for 2 years.
That's wild. That's a long time.
It's hard to do that, and it's not
Especially in a
something.
restaurant. Especially in a restaurant.
And of course, you can say like, yeah, I pay these people good, but if you don't you can pay someone good, but if you don't treat them well, you're gonna have a revolving door. Sometimes it's not always about the money; it's about enjoying coming to work. And if you can create an environment that not only do you like going to, but you feel proud going to it,
Yeah.
that makes all the difference. You don't mind getting your ass kicked in a very busy night because of the team that you're working with has been through it with you for some years, and you're gonna get through it together and have a good time with it, and it'd be really fun.
Yeah, I mean that is what my mom built at her restaurant too, and that's I think why so many of her employees were with her for almost 2 decades, is because the being a server sucks. Working in the restaurant industry, it sucks. It is a mental overload every single day, and like you said, open to close and then turning right back around to open again, sleeping in parking lots, like some of these things that people have to do to maintain that lifestyle of working and having a life is just insane. But when you trust your staff, you trust the people that you're working with, it makes it so much easier to like get through that shitstorm all right, the rush is over, right? Let's clean up, let's have a drink, whatever, and we'll get back after it again tomorrow. Do you think that, and I guess this is an open question to both of you, do you guys think that the restaurant business, the restaurant work exposes a person's personality or just how they're able to handle adversity quicker than some other industries because they're being thrown into the fire? Like, you can't fake being a server. Like, you either, like you said, Corey, you either have it and you can do it or you don't. You can tell when somebody's really bad at serving.
Easily.
Long-winded question, open to both of you.
Well, I mean, I would say, it's all about the passion of the person that's involved in it.
Hmm.
If you have a high passion for the job that you're doing, it's going to lead to quality of work. For me, I have a passion for the cooking. Nothing makes me happier when someone takes a bite of something that I made and it literally ratatouilles them into going, "Oh my God, this is what I needed today. This is amazing. I've been waiting for this." And to see them not only enjoy that, but clean their plate and to come back like, "Oh man, I'm coming back for this again in 2, 3 days because this is how I like doing it." It's very simple to do that as a server. You can leave a lasting impression because you're passionate about it, and the passion is going to show the quality of your work. And that's going to make people go, like, I want to come see this person again to have this dish or something else.
Hmm.
And there's people that come to me on a daily basis at Duffy's to ask for something just a little special, but it makes their experience that much better. And that
Yeah.
keeps them coming back. And that's what keeps money in people's pockets at the restaurant. As long as these people are happy with what they're coming for, they're going to continue to come back. So if you can do that as a server, you've got it made. But if you can't do it, you're probably not in it for hospitality. You need to switch yourself over into service, working in a kiosk or a theme park where you can just say,
Back a house.
again, if you're not a people person, come on to the back of house. That's
Yeah.
where we have the faces that are fit for radio.
Mm-hmm. For me, like, I never worked front of house. I always worked back of house. I don't like people enough to be. I'm not gonna fake it. Like, if I'm having a bad day, it's definitely worn on my face. So like, it's gonna. I can't smile. Here's your soda when my dog just died. So
Yeah.
um, I can't do that. But for me, it definitely exposes you to high stress situations. And for me, it was
Sink or
at a
swim.
young age. I was 16 when I started in the restaurant industry, so it definitely taught me, like, and not that Chipa was high stress because I had way more high stress cooking jobs than Chipa, but they definitely show you who you are in a high stressful situation. Uh, that's for sure. Um,
Absolutely. And they definitely show you what you can handle. I find myself over that more recently, but definitely over the past couple of years, even since COVID, since I put the chef coat on, finding myself out on the floor a lot more, interacting with the people, getting direct feedback as opposed to just waiting for the server to come back and be like, "Oh, they really enjoyed their steak," or "Hey, your burger really sucked. They didn't like it." I go right out there to the table myself and literally do the table touches. "Hey, how was everything?" And they get to interact with me directly. And that makes it, again, another more personal experience to them. They can then be like, "Oh man, the chef came out and talked to us." Or like, "Oh, they can have that moment like, I know the chef. We've
yeah.
met the chef a couple times." And it's worked. The people that come in do continue to come back, and
Well,
everyone,
what
it but
Well, I was gonna say one thing we never got into is you earning your name on the door, and just even with that story right there, right, where you talk about being able to go out. Oh, the chef. I talked to the chef. Getting your name on the door is a victory, right? It's something that's positive, but with that also comes so much more pressure of, hey, your name is on this establishment. When people come in, they know that whatever they are eating, your reputation, your name as a chef is behind that. What's that pressure like?
Well, before my name was on the door, it was very easy to go, like, "It's not my name on the door." I still hear my cook say that to this day, "It's not my name on the door." It's very easy to push the accountability off onto whoever his name is on the door. And, when that person that I worked for years was finally out of the way, nothing bad against him. But once he was out of the way and it was like, now's my time to do it, it was like, let me show you guys what it means to have your name on the door. And it's like you said, that name on the door comes with accountability. The people that see that name on the door are trusting that my name is making sure that the food is fresh, that it's safe to eat, that my employees are not doing anything nefarious, that they're cooking it to the best of their ability, that we're producing the best of quality. And I can turn that down to the line cook and saying it's not my name on the door. And I could turn and say, you're right, it's not your name on the door, it's my name on the door, but it's also my name on you. And you guys are representing me when it comes to your cooking. So if you're doing a bad job while cooking, it's me doing a bad job while cooking. It's making sure that you are putting out that quality. And if you aren't putting out that quality, it means that I'm not putting out that quality. The only reason why this is happening is because I allowed it to happen. It's not because you did a bad job. It's because I let you do a bad job.
Yeah. Yep.
So the name on the door comes with the biggest accountability and the pressure of making sure. And when something goes wrong, I'm not sitting there going, oh, you did this wrong, it's your fault. You're right. I allowed it to happen. I'm going to dig into this. We're going to make sure it doesn't happen again. Let me personally take care of this. Let me go make the food the way that you want to have it, the way that you should have gotten it in the first place. And let me go show my team what it means to have that passion and quality come out there. And it's very simple to take that accountability and to take the pressure off of pointing the finger. It's my fault.
Yeah.
Point and simple. The scheduling went wrong because I approved it. It's my fault. So and so didn't come in. They weren't scheduled today because I didn't schedule them. It wasn't because the key hourly didn't schedule someone or we didn't plan for this. It's automatically, hey guys, that one's on me. It's my name on the door. You're right. It's my accountability. Let me fix this.
And what Duffy's can people come find you and hold you accountable?
You can find me at the Lake Mary location. We're the furthest Duffy's north, tip of the sword, I like to say. But I've been there for so long now that if you've been to Duffy's, you've seen me. You've tried my food. And if we've done a bad job, we'll come back, tell me we did a bad job, and let me make it right myself. And
put it in your mouth again.
If we continue to do a good job, then hey, come on, let me feed you. Let me feed you.
One of my favorites is when I'm there and I order, you bring my food out, and it's normally like a plain burger or something like that. And it's like, here's your plain cheeseburger, and you just plop it down, and I'm just like, sorry, man. I know you want to, I know you want to show off, but I like what I like.
You're gonna come here and get a plain cheeseburger, bud. I won't let you order the wings. You're not allowed to order wings anymore.
I haven't.
It's like going to a craft beer bar and ordering a Bud Light.
That would be Nick's other nickname. Would be Chicken Wing Nick.
I have a buddy that still only eats chicken tenders. He's coming up on 40. He'll go to a fancy ass restaurant. I'll have the chicken tenders.
Nice, man.
Jesus, I'm not like that.
I've become the least pickiest eater. I'm just give it to me. I'm eating it.
Oh, I've seen the snaps.
I have two. So I have two more questions before we kind of wrap this up and move on to the last part of this episode. And I guess the first one is going to be we talked a little bit about cooking for other people, right? That is one of the biggest things that turned Nick off. He wanted to be able to just cook for himself. And my mom had that same stigma where she was a chef at her restaurant or a cook at her restaurant, and she would come home and she'd order food for, she didn't want to cook anymore. Mm-hmm. She had been cooking all day. And even if it's cooking for the family or cooking for herself, she just didn't want to do it. So we would order to, takeout. Where now that she doesn't own the restaurant, she cooks a ton more. But what's that like, Corey? Because I mean, we haven't even touched on kind of your family life and your backstory, having a wife and 3 kids, cooking all day at the restaurant, and then coming home and wanting to cook for yourself and for them. How do you just maintain that passion to just constantly be cooking? And is it just something that you love that much that it's really never been a thought?
Well, it's easy when your wife and kids like the food that you cook. So like when I come home from work, and my wife, she also works full time as well. She works more than I do if it really boils down to it. Like I might work long hours in the restaurant, 10 to 12, 14 hours straight. But then she has her days where she's working for 5 hours, then she's working for 3 more, and then she has her at home work. And there's times where it comes home and it's like she hasn't had time to really get dinner ready because she's been so enthralled in her own work and getting home and doing stuff with around the house and the kids. And it's like, all right, as soon as I get home from work, let me jump right into cooking because this is a team thing here. You know, we're not always perfect. It's not. I'm not going to come home and expect dinner to be on the table. If I come home and dinner's not ready, it's all right. Let me take this coat off, or let me keep the coat on, and let's just keep cooking. That's what else we got to do. Sometimes the kitchen needs to be cleaned up. Sometimes the dishes need to be done. It's like we got to do that in order to cook at home. So it's really you go from cooking for other people to cooking for your own purposes. Your kids need to eat dinner. People in your house sometimes rely on you to cook. Now my kids they're getting, some of them are getting to the age where they can make their own meals. They can make their own sandwich for lunch. You know, my son Lincoln, I'm sure he can make a wicked can of soup these days. But at the end of the day, that's not exactly what home cooked is. And sometimes, you know, they're like, "Hey, Dad, like, you know, we really want spaghetti and meatballs today." And you're like, "All right, well,
Yeah.
let's keep going." And because I'm a cook at work, it's easy for me to pull stuff out and slap it together. It's a lot easier for me to put spaghetti and meatballs together than it is for my wife who doesn't cook for a living. Not to say
I was gonna
she's a
ask, does your
wonderful
wife
cook.
cook at all?
She does. She actually has her own dishes that she likes to make. You know, she'll pull. She has her own Rolodex of recipes that she'll thumb through. I guarantee it. She makes a better pork chop than I do.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll put that hands down anytime she's making the pork chop. So,
Do you guys
thank you, honey.
ever make the same meal for the kids and ask them whose is better? Have like a bake
Oh
off,
yeah, oh
cook
yeah. And
off?
they'll always say, like, you know, they'll be daddy's boys in that moment. Like, oh, Dad makes the best pancakes. Oh yeah, Dad makes the best grilled cheese. And it's like, of course Dad does. It's Dad approved. This is what Dad does.
Nick, before we kind of wrap this segment up, any other questions for Corey as it relates to the restaurant business, dealing with that, or just personal life?
Uh, I um
I will say to Nick, my one of my favorite restaurants to dine in is his stepdad's house. You walk in there and just open up that fridge, and it's like, oh,
Oh
Doing
yeah,
the
you
for
and
you.
Eric just eating anything and everything that's in
we're
that
just gonna
fridge
put everything in the
uh,
fridge into a sandwich.
into a single sandwich and just eat it.
And
It's
we're
like,
we're
what
gonna
is wrong? Or on a tortilla. It's like,
yeah
what is going on?
use the tortilla as a plate to catch everything and eat it when you're done.
Corey, the last question then, when we wrap up the segment, is just going to be, talk to me about mental health and how you juggle everything that's going on between what you're doing at work, what you have at the house with the kids. I know that you say you enjoy comic books, and I'm sure that's a way for you to release some stress, but what is it like trying to juggle all of this while maintaining your own mental health and taking care of yourself and making sure you are there not only for your household, but the hundreds and thousands of people that you end up having to serve at the restaurant over time?
I think I said it before. Is this stuff's not taught. You can't just be like, all right, this I'm gonna have good mental health. I'm gonna handle life greatly because I think it's gonna go that way. It's not easy. It definitely has its trying times where it's like, you know, you don't see your family because you went to work before they got up for school, and you had to work for so long, and you get home when they're in bed, and you don't get to see them throughout that whole day for dinner, and it feels like there's a piece of you that's missing. And
Yeah,
then you got to go and do that again the next day. And it's like, you know, where do you find that moment to really have that time? And it's one of the things that I really like with Duffy's now that I've been in control of the position that I'm at, is that I make my own schedule. I can decide I want to spend this time with my kid. I really set a firm boundary. I'm glad that I have a general manager with me that agrees that family time is more than anything. So if I'm salaried to work 10 hours a day and I worked for 12, well, I'm only going to work 8 hours on one of these next days. We're going to make that time up somewhere else because family time is valued. Um,
sure.
I think honestly, because of the this great and terrible ADHD that I have, really helps with the mental health because you're able to think on such a broad spectrum of things and really kind of narrow in when you need to and zone out when you need to. It's very easy to turn one stress thing off so that you can deal with another thing. And once you're dealt with that, turn that side off to deal with another aspect of it. Um, you know, coming home after long shifts, uh, the kids being happy is what really makes it key. But you have to think about yourself as well and the things that
Absolutely.
make you happy. And that's honestly, like you said, comic books, anime, this stuff is an outlet to me because it just grabs my imagination and takes it by the reins and lets someone else do it. And I could completely zone out to be like, oh my God, I'm so
Yeah.
entertained by this. I'm actually feeling like not like I've created this myself, but I can live this story in my mind and really enjoy it. And it just pulls everything else away, which is, I'm wearing the straw hat, One Piece. I'll watch One Piece and it just completely grips my imagination. And next thing you know, I've been sitting there for hours and I'm just zoned into it. And it's like,
Pulls your brain somewhere else.
right, yeah, and when I'm done watching it, I don't feel drained or depressed or upset. I feel wholesome. I'm like, all right, now that my brain has been flossed, I can go back to I could go back to reality and work again. I can do these household chores. I can get these kids to Sky Zone and make sure they're happy and healthy and being able to tear up the house like they are right now.
I love it.
It's
I love it.
having that hobby. I mean, like I can pick up this comic book and zone out for a little bit, or I can, you know, think back on, when's this next convention I'm going to? Who am I going to meet next? What's this book that I'm going to get signed? Am I take this book that I got for $4 and turn it into a $4,000 book? You know,
Huh.
You have to be creative when it comes to the restaurant industry, and that's one thing I always think about that I don't even know if I could do today because you get so worked up sometimes at a restaurant. And I remember most of the time it was when I would go back and I would be in college. So I'd go out and start drinking or partying. Like as soon as I was done, there was nothing to worry about. But just I have 3 kids too. So having to come home and manage all of that, it's just, I definitely commend what you're able to do because it is a huge task knowing both the parent game and the industry game. And you're built different. You're built different, but it's great to hear and great to see. And I'll have to come out there with Nick and come visit you at the Lake Mary Duffy's.
well,
Jay, Chef Jay
where are you
Cord.
living at?
I'm out in Tampa. I'm out in Tampa over
There's a
by the
Duffy's in
Hard Rock.
Tampa.
Oh yeah, we go all the time.
There's
Actually,
Duffy's in Tampa.
Callie was
I
a
go up there all the
server
time
at
too.
Duffy's.
Oh, really?
When it would have been the Duffy's in Boynton Beach. So this was before I met her back a while when. But yeah, so
That's
we
that
go
side
to
of
Duffy's
Florida.
all the
There's
time.
Duffy's everywhere, but yeah,
Well,
the
they're
one
all
in
over the place.
Tampa.
It's the 2 for 1 is great. The food is always amazing. I've never had a bad dish at Duffy's. Like I said, it's not just a sports bar. They
Something for
definitely
everyone
treat
in
it
there.
as a restaurant. Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, awesome. So I want to wrap this up with a little game. Nick
Ooh.
loves games, and I want to throw a quick segment. And what we're going to do is we're going to call this the house special because you are the chef. I want to build a menu around your life. Nick, you got to be paying attention, Nick,
I
because
am. I'm on the.
I understand. I'm just
Lock
saying
in,
you
Nikki.
got to be paying attention because I'm going to ask the first part of his life, which would be the appetizer. Then you're going to come in with a question for the main course, okay? And we're going to rotate after that. It's going to be the appetizer, the main course, the special, the burnt dish, the secret ingredient, 86 that, and the chef's kiss. This is going to be a quick segment, right? We're going to throw a quick answer from Corey, just something that reflects on your life that ties in to this restaurant themed menu. And we're gonna throw a few questions away. Does this make sense for everybody? You ready, Nick?
I think so.
Okay. So Corey, the appetizer, right? This is a small moment that maybe it started a bigger chapter in your life. But I want you to think back. What is the appetizer of your life? The small thing that started everything.
Hmm. I would say if it's in the restaurant industry, the small thing that changed everything would probably be old Nipples' brother moving away. Because
Eric moving and
if
Chipa.
Eric didn't move, I might not have taken that job at Chipa Pizza.
Interesting.
That might not have gotten the ball rolling for me. Be like, hey, this restaurant, you can make this lucrative.
Did
Now
you
we
work
fire to
at
the main
Chipa?
course, Nick.
I'll ask later.
Unless you had a question, we'll pause the game.
Did you work at
ask your
Chipa with
question.
the other Corey?
Corey Calamus, yeah, I got him
Yeah.
the job there.
Okay.
That was oh man, I love that. I love that motherfucker. If you're watching, you motherfucker, you Corey, I love you, buddy.
You motherfucker. I'm gonna see him in a few weeks. But
Oh, you motherfucker, you then, Nick. Oh,
so the
him.
main course. Now, this would be the biggest thing on your plate right now.
Biggest thing on my plate right now is maintaining the restaurant's happiness and quality, making sure people have their hours while also keeping corporate happy with my labor numbers and my food cost numbers and the constant evolving ebb and flow of mistakes happening, things not being rung in, or the accountability of things. It's like, all right, we burnt 20 pounds of bacon today. Why did we do it? Where did we do it? And ultimately, I'm the one who did it. So the accountability and the managing of the whole spectrum of keeping that staff whole is probably the biggest thing on my plate right now.
What a great corporate answer. The corporate leaders at Duffy's, the power that be.
It doesn't have to be food related.
Oh, it doesn't have to be food related? No, the biggest thing.
It can be.
Okay, we're not going to food. The biggest thing on my plate right now is this fucking stupid home ownership of not being able to like call a landlord, like come unclog my drain, come fix my AC. The fence is broken, you know.
But hey, it's an investment, and at least you're not wasting your money on rent.
I don't think we even dived into the home ownership of things. Like buying a house right now in this economy was like probably like the best and worst thing we could have done.
100%.
So maintaining the house when it comes to stuff like that has probably been the biggest challenge. And to even get a little sidetrack on it, when it comes to maintaining a house, I think I told you this not that long ago. It was your stepdad actually came in clutch at 2:00 in the morning when my AC wasn't working. And my wife, being very skillful as she was like, it's the capacitor. The capacitor is broken. Where the fuck are we going to get a capacitor at 1 a.m? Like, let me text Al Taylor and tell him I have an AC emergency. And he's like, yeah, I got a capacitor. Come get it. So we drive to Deltona. We drive 2 a.m. to Deltona, get this capacitor, get back to my house in Sanford, fix the capacitor. We have our AC back. And it's like, hey, you know,
fuck the capacitor.
And then it's like we fix the capacitor, and then you know the hot water heater wants to start throwing up. Great.
Yeah, dude. It sucks. It's something new every fucking day.
We put gutters on the house, and then the fence wants to fall apart.
And nothing is less than $10,000.
No, it's like
it seems to be about $10,000 is the right number.
You think you got a good credit card until you got to pay for that shit. You're like, this is nothing. This sucks.
Does it have $10,000?
Owning this, being a homeowner in Central Florida is the biggest fucking thing on my plate right now.
Shit,
that's the most trying.
We got the highest taxes you've ever heard
but
of.
I wouldn't be able to handle the homeowner stuff if it wasn't for my wife and the job that I have.
Beautiful. So we move on to the burnt dish. This is a mistake, a bad decision, or a rough chapter that taught you something.
Talking to people negatively. Wow. Treating them like their mistakes are a problem, as opposed to treating them as something that you should be curious about. You know, it was very easy to have a knee-jerk reaction on someone because they messed up, and they'd be like, what the fuck are you doing, man? How could you burn ice cream? You know, how could you fuck up a salad? What the hell are you doing? And to have that moment in a high-stress situation, it destroys someone's passion. And I did that to some people, where it was like they no longer wanted to work anymore. I'm not saying at Duffy's, probably in other restaurants. Maybe it happened at Duffy's too. But in those moments, I had to take a step back and be like, wow, I can't do that.
Yeah, what am I doing?
I can't talk to people like that. You
I
know,
love that.
I,
That's
I
important.
automatically understand in this industry that there's going to be 1 out of 10 people that don't like me. I'm cool with that statistic. I can be okay with that. That would be all right.
Yeah.
But if 5 out of 10 people have a problem with you, you got to look at yourself and like, what am I doing that's making this majority of people have a negative feeling about me or a thought about me? What the hell is it that I'm doing wrong now? So I have to look at
Mhm.
my mistakes and be curious about them and turn them into an opportunity to flip it around to learn. I'm
Yep.
not perfect. I don't know it all, and I still make mistakes, and I still am going to make mistakes, but I will do my best to learn from them. I definitely know how to take accountability for it. So that makes the job a lot easier when to make mistakes because, hey, shit happens, you know?
Mhm.
I love
But
it.
you got to be able to learn from that.
That's
And
important. That growth.
getting,
I love to hear that growth and just that self-inflection.
Yeah, that was a good answer.
Yeah, that's a really good answer.
So the next one's the secret ingredient. The thing that keeps you going when life gets heavy.
oh, I'm going to do the husband answer and say it's my wife. You know, my wife, my my other best friend, the best half of me. Uh, she's the biggest motivator. She'll keep me on track. She'll also let me go off the rails strategically, you know, within reason. You know, it
Right.
was the reason why I went to California wasn't because I'm like, I'm going to California and everyone's staying at home. No, my wife heard me talking to my best friend playing a video game, saying like, oh man, and you know, this was a time when Eric couldn't make it to Florida. You
Right.
know, he hadn't been here for a couple of years, and I was like, well, man, if you can't make it out here, I'll come out and see you somehow. And it's like, you know, in my mind, well, it's nearly impossible. How am I going to do it? 3 kids, chef job, maintaining the house, being able to do this. How can I do that? And she goes, hey, can you take off this week in March? You know, I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. I'll put in my PTO request right now. Do it. She goes, okay, because I just booked your ticket to California. You're going.
Hell
You know,
yeah.
go see your friend.
Hell
So,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, having a teammate on my side like that, more than that, is what really keeps that passion, that drive, that I can keep doing this. I can take this to the next level because I have that support behind me. If I decide today that I'm quitting Duffy's, she's going to be like, good, quit Duffy's, do it. You know,
Fuck
I
that
can be like,
place.
I'm going to quit Duffy's and become a voice actor. She's going to go, okay, all right. You know, you need to up your credit card limit, but, you know, do what you need to do and to be happy. But, you know, or if I decide, hey, we're gonna open our own restaurant,
Yeah.
she's sure, I'll quit my job too. Let's do this. You know, she's
Right.
the biggest supporter, but in the same sense, she'll also look back and be like, is this the right thing to do?
Keep
Should
it
you do
straight.
this right now? Can you?
Yeah.
Does this work for you? Does this work for us? You know, are you doing this for someone else or are you doing this for yourself? And you know, she really presents that stuff to me. So it'd be my wife is the first thing. The second thing's the passion to do it. Like I said before, there's no greater thing than making a dish for someone to be like, I'm coming back just for this because of you. And it could be something as simple as putting a crushed red pepper and hot sauce for someone and it makes them feel special because it's their special sauce. So they
Yeah.
come in and be like, oh man, like Basil wants his basil sauce. Well, sure, get your basil sauce, buddy.
Basil once.
And hey,
Sauce.
you know, this guy comes back and sees me 5 times a week because I made a special sauce for him.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. No.
Speaking of sauce, one of the restaurant terms that we use is 86ing something, meaning we're out of it. It's a code that you throw out there. The whole restaurant knows it. So last two here before Nick gives you the chef's kiss. But what is 86? We're gonna 86 that, right? What is something from younger Corey's life that adult Corey had to remove just to move forward?
Excuses.
Boom.
Always
Boom.
having an excuse for something. It was I don't remember who I heard it from. Maybe it was my brother, maybe it was in a comic book or a TV show, but it was excuses are the nails used to build a house of failure.
Hmm.
No excuses. And like
Hmm.
and that however it clicks in your brain, it clicks in my brain in such a way that it's like don't have an excuse for it. Take the
Right.
accountability of it, you know?
Build a
There
strong house.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
I had to think
80,
about
60
that one for a
excuses.
second. Yeah.
80, 60 excuses. Don't give an excuse about it. Don't tell me why it can't be done. Let's get it done. Or don't tell me why you don't want to do it. Let's just get it done. And then talk about why we didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, if I want something done a certain way and someone's not doing it, well, hey, let me show you how it's done, and please do it that way. Don't give me the excuse that you don't know how it's done. If you don't know how it's done, let me educate you and do it, or vice versa. If I don't know how it's done, please educate me so I can do it.
Beautiful. Nick, wrap it up with the
chef's kiss. All right, this is going to be something about your life right now that is genuinely good.
A lot of things are good.
Yeah, narrow down to one.
Narrow it down to one.
Nick's like, fuck that. Just one good thing.
Just the best. The best
one
thing.
good thing. So I was kind of, so I don't want to call it the best thing.
It could be multiple.
Because I know you're not drinking at the moment, Nick, and I'm not too much of a heavy drinker, but when I do, this red breast single pot still Irish whiskey aged 12 years is very smooth and nice.
Nice. But when I do.
God. Well, that is the chef's kiss to Chef J. Corey Bridwell Sr. Appreciate you participating in that rapid fire game.
I feel rapidly fired.
Oh, God.
Hell yeah.
What a good episode, man. What a good episode. I think there was a lot of good conversation. There's still so many things that we didn't even get into. We'll definitely have to have you back on one day. It's been a pleasure, like I said, getting to reconnect, but more so just having a follower and a listener and a fan of the show come on and going deeper into just kind of what you're doing with us in the You Good podcast world. So we appreciate you having you here. And the last question that we typically ask before we kind of wrap everything up is, do you have any stories? You are full of stories, and I love this. Like, your brain goes all the way back. You're very much like Chris Sarametta in the sense of the knowledge that you can store there.
That's why we get along.
Is there a story that maybe your parents don't know about?
I'm still convinced that my parents still have no idea just how far I was away from the house I was going as a teenager on a bicycle. I mean, I lived in the central first part of Deltona, like Anderson and Providence, kind of maybe a couple miles away from where you live, Chris. Kind of that area of Deltona.
Yep.
And I would ride my bike from there, go down High Banks to Fort Florida on my bicycle at like 13 years old.
That's insane.
It was a very easy lifestyle for me to get away with stuff without knowing what my parents did. Because were they going to call me? Or are they going to just hope that I come home at a certain time? My mom worked overnight at a nursing home, so she wasn't home at night. And my dad, when he had his job, he worked early in the fucking morning, so he was sleep early in the day and up early at night. So it was very easy to just, mom's
Not
at work and dad's asleep. See ya.
That's what we talked about last week. Is just
let me take
freedom that we did or didn't have.
Let me take the car for a joyride and go pick up Nick's brother.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, or like I say, even moments like sleeping over at Nick's house, and Nick would be out doing his thing, and me and his brother Eric would go into his room and drink 151 and pick a couple nugs and then sneak out the window and walk down the street to Howland, and we are plastered off
like
151
4 miles.
Yeah,
you walked 4 miles drunk.
Just a couple 14-year-olds.
14-year-olds.
Yeah, that puts me at 16.
15. I was like 14, 15, 16, right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times we did it was that's where it blurs.
Well, that's what inevitably ended up getting Eric.
Quit drinking my booze. We're not. We'll replace it.
Was a sneaking out of the house. So
yeah.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
awesome.
I was definitely.
I think, like I said, from
the
top of the episode, we talked. The theme of this is just somebody kind of coming back into your life, maybe that was there to begin with, and was never too far behind. But I encourage people to try to reconnect. I've said it so much. Just this podcast has opened up a plethora of my network. I've reconnected in the last year with so many people that I hadn't talked to previously in the last decade, and it's been refreshing to kind of see what is still out there in my circle and in my network and who is growing. So, like I said, Corey, the old friend, the man of all the stories, the chef, the dad, the husband, the homeowner. Thank you so much for being on. I just kind of wanted to leave this time for you to kind of give us your last thoughts as we close up the show, and then Nick, when he's done with those last thoughts, if there was anything else that you wanted to cover.
I guess when it comes to hobbies of things, 'cause we didn't really talk too much about the nerdum of things. If you're a collector, collect what you love, man. Don't think about people going, "Oh man, this guy just spent so much money on whatnot on Pokemon cards." If you love collecting Pokemon cards, collect the cards, dude. Get the things that you love. You see a card that's like, "Oh man, dude, this is fucking beautiful. I gotta have this thing." Get that thing. It's what makes you happy. But do it responsibly and do it for something that you're passionate about. I collect this animation art because I love the show. The show stretches my imagination. And I never thought in a million years, hey, I could own a piece of this show. So why am I going to buy a card that has nothing to do with the show when I can own a piece of this show? That childhood nostalgia, not exactly, reconnect to my childhood, but feed my childhood.
Yeah,
Keep it there.
I love it. I love it. Any last words, Nick?
No, I just wanted to thank you for coming on. It definitely was a fun episode. Remembering nicknames and things that I've long forgot about, and just stories from the past, for sure, has been fun. It's always a pleasure when we get to catch up too. So thanks for coming on.
Well, I'm glad to have done it. And I can't wait to do it again. We'll get your brother on here. You can get my brother on
Uh,
here.
that'd be a shit show.
There it
That'd
is.
be
There it
definitely a
is.
shit show.
I think as we get closer to 40, it's really easy for us to talk about nostalgia and being feral kids and recycling kind of this same narrative over and over. But what I think separates what we're talking about today and what some of the best versions are of growing up is not losing who we were and just realizing, hey, we're the same people, just a little bit older with a lot more experience. And it's learning which parts to keep, which parts to 86, and which parts deserve to be the house special, as we would say in Corey's world. But if any part of today's episode hit home, please share it with a friend. Please tag us at CrodsPod on Instagram, follow us on TikTok at CrodsPod, and help us keep these conversations going. We drop new episodes every Thursday. If you have a story, a topic, or you just need to vent, please email us at crodspod@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. Our safe space is your outlet. And until next time, live fast, eat ass, or 86 the bad decisions, and keep the good stories.